Hello and welcome to Hello and welcome to this episode of Spotlight 219, presented by your favorite newspaper, The Times, and Local 219, a show dedicated to highlight really cool things happening around the region weekly. On today's episode, we are joined with Ann Massey of the NWI Food Council and Josh Marlowe to talk about a charity event. So without further ado, let's get this thing rolling and bring in Ann.
Hey, Alan.
Hey, Ann. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that that's a little bit of a loaded question. Coming out of Farm Fest, which was last Monday, correct?
This week, Monday. Yes.
Yep. And how was the event? And if for people who don't know, what is it?
Sure. So Farm Fest is kind of like a local trade show or expo for farmers who participate in the Region Roots Local Farm and Food Hub, and food service directors, chefs, just sort of like what we call food rock stars who are doing food service can come meet the farmers, taste their products, experience some demos, and sort of prepare for the season together. We launched it last year. Last year was our first year. We did it at County Line Orchard. The last 2 years, we've had about 200 people come, all chefs and food service directors. And then we usually have about 15 to 20 expo booths of farmers and local food artisans.
It's a really cool event. I was at the one last year at County Line Orchard. I was at the Great Wolf Lodge this year. I could not get there, but it's one that I definitely hate to miss. But there was some, I guess, unfortunate news that we kind of came down during Farm Fest of all times. Can you kind of talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I mean, Farm Fest has such a great vibe. It's people who want to come together and network, really kind of dream up a lot of local food creativity for the year. And right as we were starting to welcome guests, we got this kind of gut-wrenching news that the Local Food for Schools and Childcare Fund, which is through the USDA, was terminated and would not be going forward for the next 3 years. And all of our farmers in the room, our school food service directors who work for K through 12 schools, kind of all were in a moment of feeling pretty gutted and like, what does this mean? It was in some ways nice to be in community together to sort of reel and process that news. And also Aaron from the Times was there to sort of catch our reaction in real time in what was supposed to be like a pretty light, airy, and joyful event. But I can talk a little bit more about what that news actually means for those who may not know.
Yeah, and I think that would be really huge because I've been fortunate enough to go and see your mission in action in the public and really get to see the influence it has on not only our school system, but to the growth of our local farmers. So if you want to kind of add to that and just keep kind of rolling.
Yeah, I mean, some folks out there in Northwest Indiana may have come to our events early on. We had FED, which was a food expo and discussion. Usually we had 200, 250 people come to that each year until COVID kind of shut that down. We held Farm Hop for a while where people could hop on a school bus and go visit farms not normally open to the public. During COVID, we kind of shifted and realized that our community needed a lot more efficient access to local food. Especially with grocery stores being empty during COVID, we really got the call from our farmers that we work with that they needed help getting that food out into the community. And so we launched Region Roots Local Farm and Food Hub. And that's a wholesale-facing food hub that restaurants, schools, hospitals, chefs can go on and place wholesale orders. We have some like boutique grocery stores that order through there too. And we've sort of been operating that for the last few years. And as we've gotten better and grown, an opportunity came down a couple years ago called the Local Food for Schools program out of the USDA. And Indiana got about $4.5 million allocation. And food hubs were invited to apply to the State Department of Health. And we were one of them. And we were awarded, about $400,000 because that's about all we thought we could handle in terms of food coming in and going out the door. And it went so well that the state increased our budget. And then the other distributor in the state was having a more difficult time, actually gave up some of their funding so that we could have additional funding to carry us through for the full 2 years, because the schools and the school food service directors in our area appreciated the program so much. So after the last 2 years, we'll have moved about $1.2 million of local food to K through 12 schools. And 140 schools have been receiving local food. That's about 30 school districts in Northwest Indiana: East Chicago, Hammond, Kankakee Valley, LaPorte, Michigan City, on and on, have all been receiving this food. So the plan was that this program would continue and increase for the next 3 years, where the state of Indiana would get $14.5 million, which is significantly more than that initial round. And it would open up to child care centers. So we'd be able to also service early child care centers in Northwest Indiana. And so that announcement happened late last year, and our farmers have already started planting. They've ordered their seeds, they've ordered their equipment. And just this week, the USDA announced, nope, just kidding, that funding's terminated. So our school food service directors are very upset because they have really, it's been remarkable to see. I know, Alan, you kind of saw this firsthand visiting the River Forest schools. They've tooled up their kitchens. They've trained their staff to do scratch cooking. Their menus have changed significantly since when this program first started, because they had the opportunity to try things risk-free. To see if kids are going to like stranger foods like black garlic rice or banh mi bowls, or things that they may not ever get to experience at home. So yeah, we've gotten to talk to some of the food service directors about that. They are fired up and hoping that we can get the USDA to reverse this decision.
Yeah, well, when I was at River Forest, I think that was one of the coolest experiences to see, because when I think of school lunch, I think of Bosco sticks and pizza slices, right? And the occasional Christmas dinner, which was like, I don't know, Salisbury steak. So it was just so cool to see. I think the day I was there, they were making pork chops with potatoes and like steamed veggies. And it was so cool to see that was something that was locally sourced, and to see the growth of the farmers since like the Local 219 has started, whether it's been Howe Farms, Your Farm, Five Hands, Perkins. It's really cool to see that investment be made into not only the school system and the health of our kids, but also to the growth of the farmers, and let them scale and kind of become more successful, because not everything is commercial farming, which I think is how most people think of it. But I think the biggest takeaway I had of that experience was how much the kids loved the food. They were yes. going towards, they were gravitating towards that section more so than anything else in the cafeteria. And I had a chance to sit down with some of the kids, and they're like, yeah, we don't even get this meal at home, and so that's sad. And I think that, like, if we're really caring about the community, caring about its future, I think good food is one of those aspects to keep down from like health costs and medical costs and all that stuff that can kind of haunt you in your future. The best we can combat that. And so it's a sad thing to see it go, but it's not completely done yet. There is still a little bit of hope left. In the next about 50 something days, people can reach out to their representatives and say, hey, I'm in support of this. Please do not cut it. How can people kind of get in touch and contact them?
Yeah, this is going to require some critical mass. So anybody who feels passionately about supporting our small scale local farmers who put food on the table, who feels passionately about children in our schools eating healthy and eating well, you can visit our website, nwifoodcouncil.org/policy, to get some scripts to call your local representative or your state representative and let them know that you care about this program. It's called the Local Food for Schools and Childcare Program. Let them know you do not want to see it cut. If you want to roll up your sleeves in a more long-term way, reach out to us. We are getting calls pretty constantly over the last 48 hours from our farmers, community members, farmers that we haven't worked with before that have seen what we do and want to plug in now. There are parents in these in these school districts that have seen the change in their kids' diets, and don't want to see that go. You can connect with me directly at info@nwifoodcouncil.org. My name's Ann Massey again, in case you're listening and can't see my name. Those are kind of the biggest ways we hope we can get you connected and plugged in and help bring a voice to this really, really important issue.
Well, I hope people reach out. I hope people do it. I think the term critical mass is really, really legit here. It's tangible. And so please go to the nwifoodcouncil.org, go check out policy, and please vote it. Just voice your opinion and do the best we can. And thanks for joining and letting us know, show a little light on that subject. And we'll talk to you soon.
Really appreciate it, Alan.
Thanks. Take care. So our next guest is a friend of mine. I've known him for a long time, talking about another great friend of mine, Dustin Sherlow. His name's Josh Marlowe that's joining us. Josh, are you there?
Hey, Alan. Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you. So for people who don't know, who haven't been following, Top Fuel CrossFit in Crown Point, it's on North Street. It's been since I started in 2017 with Local 219, has been there at the very least. It is a great community. I think everybody who's ever done CrossFit understands that. It's really welcoming. And one of our leaders of that community, Dustin Sherlow, had a little bit of bad news about a year ago. Can you kind of go into that a little bit?
Yeah, thanks for that. So yeah, the owner, Dustin Sherlow, he's owned the gym for a little over 8 years now in Crown Point there, and he got diagnosed with cancer. It's a squamous carcinoma, is a type of cancer, in December of last year. So that set him on a journey at the University of Chicago for 6 weeks to get chemo and radiation therapy. He was just released 3 weeks ago to come back home. So he's awesome. Back at home now and in recovery and healing stage. So we're just putting together a fundraiser here coming up on March 22nd from 9 to 2 at Top Fuel. So we're just here to talk about that a little bit, promote that event, and try to get some community support.
Awesome. Well, he's a great guy. It's like, life isn't always fair. And when I remember hearing the news, I was just completely shocked because he is literally a beacon of health. I mean, he's about a freak of an athlete as it gets. And so to me, it's kind of hit me that if it can happen to him, it can happen to anybody. Talk a little bit about the event, kind of more in detail, and let us know what people can expect.
Yeah, appreciate that. So the event's going to be again March 22nd, 9 to 2. We are going to host a workout in CrossFit fashion. So we'll hold 30-minute heats throughout the day where anybody really can participate in the workout. We can tailor it and structure it to fit anybody. It's just, not CrossFit per se. You can grab some different equipment and jump in. So that'll be going on every half hour throughout the day. We've got t-shirt sales. We've got a whole bunch of local businesses that have donated. So huge thank you for that, for some gift raffles that we'll be doing. Then we also have Parlor Donuts. They'll be on site, slinging donuts and coffee, awesome. Supporting the event. So that's always a good little treat. Stop on by for that. And then we've also got Court Street Burrito. That's going to be on site selling, some tacos and supporting that effort for lunch. So that's kind of what's going to be going on behind the scenes. We'll have a lot of stuff there for kids to enjoy as well. So although there's a workout going on, there's definitely room for people to come in and just support the gym, the community, Dustin, and hang out and just enjoy camaraderie and good laughs and, hug each other and share good stories. So
awesome. Well, Josh, I appreciate you coming on. Where can people find more information?
Yeah, so we do have a Facebook event page. It's CrossFit Fights Cancer. So you can search that out on Facebook. There is a flyer as well that we'll share out with the group. It has a lot more of the QR codes and information about the event. So just looking to appreciate ahead of time, all the support so far and the community to join us on that day. We'll hope and pray for good weather. But outside of that, I think it's going to be a good fun day to just grab everybody in the community and have a good time and show up for Dustin.
Heck yeah. Well, and I think we talked in the pre-call a little bit about giving a shout out to some people who really kind of really took the baton and ran with it in a beautiful way. Can you mention that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. So, as I mentioned, Dustin's been, concentrating on his chemo and radiation and therapy and his healing journey. So just really want to appreciate the coaches and the members at the gym that have really stepped up, remodeled the gym in his absence, and then also have been coaching and running the classes, as well as kind of picking up some of the back end office things, just to help provide that support and alleviate some of that stress for Dustin along the way. So huge shout out to that team there. It just goes to echo the leadership and the culture that Dustin's built at the gym. So
awesome. Well, thanks again for joining, Josh. Appreciate it. I hope to see you there March 22nd. Great to get an update on Dustin that the hopefully the worst is over and he can start his road to being back to 100%. And so thanks.
Yeah, appreciate it, Alan. Thanks so much.
Later, Josh. So thanks for watching this episode of Spotlight, and special thanks to our guests for joining. To find out about all things happening in the region, go to the Times website at nwi.com or on their socials, and please check out our Eat Local 219 app on both iTunes and Android to check out our amazing local restaurants, make reservations, check out events, or get amazing deals from these restaurants directly to your phone. New episodes drop every week on Thursday, so be on the lookout, and thanks again for watching and have a great weekend.